Islam, 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 Moorish America. Want to rise upon the seven within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah. We give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali Al-Hajj, Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. But let us come forth with our ancient committee and adept Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as we open up the way. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Ya Allah ebnu heru makuneteru, Ya Allah ebhet heru, Ya Allah ma'at heru, Ya Allah hotep heru, Ya Allah heru, Ya Allah ma'at herakuti, Ya Allah ahwajeta duty, Ya Allah per sutek per heru, Ya Allah bamaduti, al-hajit shepis rab to Ali. Amin. Haliyas, Haliyas, Haliyas. And that is the same Moorish kin and transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet, O Allah, Drew Ali. Amen. Aliyasa, Aliyasa, Aliyasa. Islam, Moorish king. And now we come forth before you with the divine constitution of Moorish America, salvation, our God, unity, the seven supreme constitutional acts of law. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of Moorish America in power to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of Moorish America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh. And on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you're part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish Americans to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings, and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Drew Ali through the guidance of his father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened according to the triune acts, Acts 1, 2, and 3 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam, Islam, Islamism. Providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directed with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature, conforming to his will. Shemotepu Moorish kin, peace and love. Yes, sir. Gratitude. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. But let us rise upon the seventh within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God, Allah, Father God, Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything, again, and I do mean everything, that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification, again, of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to exhume us as a nation. I want to welcome you to another Moorish Perspectives, and I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Amohadi Shabazil. My ancient committee and high name being the same as Dr. Shedawah Mintio Mohajed Shepsuel. And we got a grand drawing to bring to you, Moorish kin, on the manifest. There's a grand degree of a grand Moorish Perspectives. And give me a second here, Moorish kin, because I'm trying to get this link to our family, so that we can get our family here. So we got a grand drawing. Just keep your attention on this measure we're getting ready to bring to the manifest. And it's going to be a powerful drawing, as we always bring one forth, something that we can make applicable to ourselves and apply. Okay. Uh-oh. And I apologize too much if you wasn't able to hear our brother reading the subject chapter, but we will be going back over it, so we'll cover what you didn't get from our brother. Thought I had unmuted it. Okay. Give me 1 second here. And be sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, tap in. Let the people know that you got some people out here that's giving this high science and showing you how to make it applicable to yourself. Because that's what the people want to know. They don't really care so much about what it is you teach. They want to know, can you make it apply to the current situation you live in? That's the question they've been asking me. How can you apply this to your current situation? Well, we demonstrate that over here. So tell a friend, and hopefully they tell a friend and tell another friend. Come on in and get some of this truth. Yeah, even if you're just tuning in and get some listening, that's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. A little listening ain't never hurt nobody. Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm just dropping this link. I'm a family. I'm going to try to drop another measure. I'm going to try to share it real quick on social media so that we can get some of our other families notified, because I've been getting drawings where I have been told that some people have not been getting the notifications. Some people say they literally was kicked off of my channel. I didn't kick nobody off or remove nobody, but I've been telling, somebody told me this right here. So I apologize. You might want to check and see if them people done move you off the channel as well. Because if so, then that's possibly the reason why you hadn't been getting notification. You see? So yeah, we got a grand drawing to bring on the manifest. Okay, let me do this post real quick. Just give me 1 second. Bear with me. The wait will be most fulfilling. Okay. Wait a minute. I hear my brother saying it ain't no sound. Okay, Brother Noble Brian, can you hold up? I can do it better. Grand Secretary of the State, can you hear me on the computer?
Can you hear me, Mo? I can hear you.
He might have been saying the same thing that was said earlier, though.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, you can hear me? Okay, gratitude. Okay, so they must have been saying they couldn't hear Brother Marvin that was Bay. Okay, it's long. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties, family. All right, all right. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm doing a few things over here. Just give me 1 second, and all is well, family. I'm finna share this link one time because it's only sharing from so far as what I can see. YouTube at this time, they don't let you do the three-way sharing right now unless you upgrade. I ain't upgraded yet. We'll try to see can we do that some other time in the future though. Okay. Yeah. Put this over here. Okay. Once I do that, then we'll be good. Okay. Come on. Okay, there we go. I don't want that to bleed through in our call. Okay, so I copied the link. I'm gonna drop it in one or two places because I don't want to waste too much time. Dropping it in these places are enough. And if the faithful is on the manifest, they most likely know we already live because they stay tuned in with us all the time. At least we hope so, right? Okay, so goodness gracious. Time for me to get a whole nother apparatus with the way this thing here is. Okay. Come on. Well, I tell you, Rome ain't built nothing to last more. They ain't built nothing to last. They ain't work just fine until you're trying to do what you need to do with it. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna put this here. We are live. I'm basically doing the thing that a team, would be doing normally online. That's why I have these little complications here. That's how we do it. We're gonna do what we can. All right. Okay, so I got the link there. I'm gonna just post it. One of the main group posts that I do and send that. Like I say, I ain't gonna waste time trying to send a whole lot of them. Okay. All right. We're gonna move on ahead with that right there, Morris Ken. So again, we want to welcome you to another Morris Perspectives. As I stated, I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Amohajiz Shabazz L. We got a grand draw, and we're going to bring on the manifest coming forth from our chapter 16, dealing with Yehoshua, teaches the common people at the spring and tell them how to obtain eternal happiness. This is very key. It's something that I picked up on as I was drawing from this particular ayat, and my beloved brother called me early, Marvin Edwards Bay, to check in on the registration and get the subject ayat a chapter for this particular week. And I was telling the brother, it was something that kind of caught my eye, from a divine level, as dealing with these two chapters, the one that we in now and the one that was being demonstrated part to this one right here, or prior to this one. And it was actually dealing with, Yehoshua and Barada. And when we deal with Yehoshua and Barada Rabo, I was telling the brother that basically Yehoshua was correcting Barata as it relates to dealing with, a pseudo religious science. We can even say pseudoscience. And he asked him, who told you that? He said the same thing that he said to one in this chapter that we in now, the present chapter. My brother, man, your thoughts are wrong. So Yehoshua didn't have no problem telling somebody, that their thoughts were wrong. But, he asked him, can you remember a time when you was a beast or, reptile, ape or whatever, This is what Yehoshua asked him. If you can't show me this, and your only means of trying to prove it is saying the priest told you so, then, you simply guess, but you don't know. So in that particular measure, he was correcting a pseudo-scientific mindset. Again, you see, he was demonstrating a pseudo-scientific mindset. But when it came down to this new chapter, we actually see that Yehoshua is actually addressing someone now that is pre-atheistic to a certain degree. And when I say pre-atheistic, I'm saying that whatever it is that they have been experiencing could be a situation that can lead to disbelief to a certain degree. There's a certain amount of hopelessness that we hear being demonstrated. A certain amount of hopelessness being demonstrated. And from that degree of hopelessness, or within that degree of hopelessness, we can see the potential of an atheistic, pre-atheistic thought pattern, meaning that it will lead up into atheism. Now, many people may become offended by this if they call themselves atheists, but even an atheistic system is a belief system, whether one want to accept it or not, especially when they pit this up against, any religious teaching, or they begin to debate one based upon the principles of atheism, because this is their belief system. Then if they are not content in that, or they're not truly comfortable with demonstrating in that particular way, then they are looking for some validation or confirmation so that they become comfortable in that particular thought pattern of not believing in anything. So this goes to show you that due to the fact that they are striving and looking for confirmation or something to help them be comfortable in their belief of non-belief, they actually show that they have at the root, whether they admit it or not, some belief. You see? Because they don't truly have faith in the atheism. So if they really don't have faith in the atheism because they are seeking some credence to prove their atheism, then this by virtue shows that in their heart, they know that their thoughts are wrong. And in their heart, they know that their thoughts are out of line with the divine. So they need someone to sing the song and hum along with them. You know what I'm talking about? In order to make them feel good. Because they can't stand on this alone. But hopelessness is what has inspired, the thought, so to speak. And so this is what this chapter is tapping into. So we can say that Yehoshua, again, was addressing the pseudoscientists in our previous chapter, religio science, if you want to deal with that, or just science in general. But also, again, in this chapter, he was most definitely addressing atheists. Now, I'm going to go deep into this right here because this is very powerful. You often hear me say, when we're dealing with the concepts of the macrocosm and the microcosm, every teaching has a teaching of cosmology, all the way from the time of ancient Kemet all the way up into this time now. Contrary to popular opinion and belief, every teaching has a teaching on cosmogony or cosmology. The teachings, especially when you're dealing with cosmic teaching, you're automatically dealing with order. You see? So there is some teaching that deals with the order of the heavens as it is above, so it is below, as it is within, so it is without. So the heaven represent the consciousness or the state of mind. Keep that in mind. Hold that thought. Then the earth then is a symbolic measure that represents the body. It ain't just symbolic. We know the body is literally made of earth. We know this to be fact. And if we understand this, and we can get a clear conception of this thought in and of itself, then it begins to make sense. It began to make sense, Morris King. I mean, you can't get around it. You can't get around it. It's not possible to get around this special thought. It's impossible to get around this special thought. So if the heavens represent the mind and the earth represent the body, let's put this in the context of this measure that we bringing on to manifest in this chapter that we dealing with in our Moorish Holy Quran. Let's put this in the context, of how we understand Yehoshua teaching the common people as it relates to dealing with eternal happiness. Because happiness is a state of mind. Happiness doesn't just exist somewhere outside of you. Metaphysically, the creation can express a happiness to a certain degree. Happiness can be expressed when the sun rises. Most people like to equate, sunshine, with a brilliance. So brilliance is connected to happiness in most cases, right? I mean, we can say a flower blooming metaphysically can be a form of expression that represents a happiness. Praise, adoration, everything else. If we were getting into these aspects, but technically, the feeling that we feel as human beings that we call happiness, we don't know how an animal feels in their feeling expressing that happiness. A dog might jump up and, lap out his tongue and do all types of tricks and everything, but you can't necessarily say that that dog is feeling the same feeling that you feel when you demonstrate happiness. A dog can be demonstrating happiness when they tear into the hide, of another smaller creature. You know what I mean? But is that really happiness being demonstrated? Depending on how you're looking at it. I'm happy I caught hold to your behind. I got you now. We can look at that in that way, but I'm dealing with the actual human expression of happiness right now. We're not talking about the animal. We're not talking about creation. We're not dealing with metaphysics. We're dealing with the self. So now if you go into the chapter, it states in silent meditation, Yehoshua sat beside a flowing spring. Now this automatically has set the stage to let us know that Yehoshua is doing some shadow work, so to speak. He done went into the soul plane. If he in silent meditation and he's sitting beside a flowing spring, this is the quiet place that he is found, right? You know, and this was a holy day now, just like Friday is our holy day, right? And many people of the servant cast was near the place. Now, Yehoshua got to be a bad man first and foremost to have a whole bunch of people out there, you know, pretty much celebrating the holy day, which means it got to be a little bit of noise, you know, being demonstrated around there in that area and being able to concentrate for one in an environment like that right there. That say a lot about Yehoshua. He was most definitely one that was easy to be fully focused, you know, is what we're getting, right? You know, Yehoshua was focused. You know, in order to be over there like that, around them people and be focused with all that distraction going on around, and that means that he definitely had to be a mastermind. You know, because most people have to learn how to still their thoughts in a quiet place before they can go in the midst of people. You know, and these are actual practices of a mastermind. Yeah, you can learn this in silence, but try going into a noisy place and see how well you can, you know, tune out all of that noise and go within yourself. You know, because that's what's going on. Most of the time when we deal with the noise of the world, and it come in various different forms, the noise of the world distract us from going into our higher self or being able to hear from our higher medium. So this is just a bonus in this measure before we go deep into it. Because like I told you, we're going to give you something that you can apply to yourself. That's if you choose to. Now, Yehoshua wasn't dealing with, you know, the people that was of high society. He was dealing with the common people as well. That's another thing. But anyway, it goes on. It says, Yehoshua saw the hard-drawn lines of toil on every brow, in every hand, and there was no look of joy in any face. He didn't see no happiness. Not one of all the group could think of anything but toil. They was all in a state of despair, basically. It was all in a state of hopelessness, basically. Now, if we are to augment this particular measure and bring it up here into this new era and time, we can say that we have seen many of our people, when we step foot outside of the threshold of our door, oh, they mean mugging. You know, they got the stank face, as some people like to call it. You know, as our Grand Secretary of the State said, they're looking at each other cockeyed. And there's no joy in their face. And most of this joylessness in look comes from a thought that they have a lack thereof. In other words, they have a have-not mentality. But they had to learn this have-not mentality from somewhere, because they weren't born with it. You know, they didn't come out the womb with a have-not mentality. They didn't come out the womb, you know, joyless, so to speak. They had to be exposed to the conditions of the world. And after being exposed to the conditions of the world and going through certain undertakings, so to speak, they then tapped into a low frequency or a low vibrational thought that they were lacking, that they didn't have something, that if they could only just, you know, get what it is that they were looking for, then this would solve their problem overnight. You see? So therefore, this led to a state of hopelessness and a state of despair, because they've been toiling and toiling and toiling, digging and digging and digging. And still, though they may have hit rock bottom, they haven't found anything of worth. to call treasures. Goodness gracious. So anyway, it went on, right? It says, not one of all the group could think of anything but toil. Now, you know that's something else. When you done toil so much to where the toil has become your distraction and you can't think of nothing but toil. You can't enjoy the family time because you're thinking of the toil that you have come up out of, the toiling. You're thinking of the toiling that you're going to have to do when you raise up again the next day. You know, in this new era and time, they call it bill chasing. You don't even work for yourself no more. You working for AT&T if they still had it as a phone company. You working for Metro, PCS. You know, you working for, just think of the people that you end up paying in order to have some form of what you may call a luxury. You see? So I got to set this measure out here so that our people can really get it. So we want to make sure you relate to it. So nevertheless, Yehoshua spoke to one and said, why are you all sad? Have you no happiness in life? The man replied, now this is one man amongst them. He said, we scarcely know the meaning of that word. It's so sad he don't even know the meaning of the word sad. He said, we toil to live. Now listen to him. We toil to live. We work to live and hope for nothing else but toil, work, hard work. And bless the day when we can cease our toil and lay down and rest in Buddha city of the dead. You know, so basically they done toil so much to where now they only looking for a day to where they can drop this guard that we call the physical body, hump the ground. You know what that is like? To become so hopeless and toil to where you feel like that you will be happy when you leave this realm. And we've seen many people now who get into these states of deep depression with the world. And some of them we even try to bring harm to themselves because of what it is that they have come through and struggle. But you would often hear me say struggle build character. They say what doesn't kill you can only make you stronger. But if you kill yourself, then you must be very weak. If you have thoughts of taking yourself off the count, that shows that a very grand measure of weakness. But anyway, it says Yehoshua's heart was stirred with pity and with love for these poor toilers. He had compassion for the brothers and sisters. And he said, toil should not make a person sad. He said, men should be happiest when they toil. In other words, this is when you should be happy, when you are working, when you are hard at it, so to speak. It says when hope and love are back of toil, meaning when your hope and your love is back in the toil, then all of life is filled with joy and peace. And this is heaven. Now, wait a minute. For those who have been taught the myth that heaven was somewhere out of space, heaven was somewhere out there in the cosmos, when there is a bit of truth to that degree, you can find heaven in those places as well. But not the heaven that you have been taught biblically. Not the biblical heaven that you've been taught about. This by and by in the sky that you can't obtain until you die. No, we're not talking about that. Heaven is found, or we can say emanations of the heavens are found in many expressions of life. If we had a proper eye to be able to see it with. See, this go back to dealing with going into the halls of a mint. because this was the Kemetic form of heaven, second Aru or second Allah. You know, the halls, Aket, the halls, you know, of peace. The fields of peace, right? That's what they refer to in Kemet. But we find that this is also referred to as the underworld. And you hear me saying this, I've said this, I've been harping on it for, you know, a few months now. You know, that Ament is beneath that in which you are able to see with the carnal eyes. In this case, we're not trying to take you out there into the cosmos. We're not trying to take you, you know, into the realms of dealing with just a metaphysical expression, but we're trying to take you into the mystic expression of understanding that heaven that is being addressed here, backed now by your love and toil, your hard work and love, that's action now. Then all of life is filled with joy and peace, and this is heaven. You see? And the only angels in that heaven represent angelic thoughts that are thriving within the heavens of your mind, consciousness of joy and peace. You are so in a state of joy and peace to where the plane of things made manifest, the activities, the comings and the going, everything that's going on, it doesn't affect you. I mean, the negativity. It doesn't affect you, even though you on the plane of things made manifest. You in the world, but not of the world, as they say in the Piscean records. You see, on earth as it is in heaven, as you are, by what you are able to perceive and believe, so are you. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It says, do you not know that such a heaven is for you? See, Yehoshua was telling these people this. Remember, they didn't know nothing but Torah. He's saying, do you not know that this is a heaven that's for you? And the man replied to Yehoshua, listen to what he said. He said, of heaven we have heart, but when it is so far away, and we must live so many lives before we reach that place. See, that's a sign of hopelessness, where one has begun to lack hope in basically the arrival to a greater state or destination. So I got to live for what's now. I can't worry about trying to get to a place that's so far off. I got to deal with what's right here in front of me, what I'm facing, these conditions, this struggle that I'm going through, this hell that I'm catching, this wretched state that I'm in. I got to deal with this right now, because I can't perceive anything greater than the conditions that I'm dealing with right now. You see? And Yehoshua said, my brother man, your thoughts are wrong. Your heaven is not far away, and it is not a place of metes and bounds. It is not a country to be reached, so you can't find, you know, heaven there, but it's a state of mind. Because remember, your state of mind is your state of mind. And in your thoughts, you can feel anything you want to. On the emotional level of things, but that doesn't affect anybody else outside of you, because those are your thoughts. That's your state of mind. You see? And you have to remember, you take you wherever you go. So if your state of mind is wretched, if your state of mind is a state of hellacious conditions, if your state of mind is that of being a have-not and toiling, you know, like hell in hell, then ain't nobody else got no power to change your thought, because you believe this to be your reality. You know, so what could Yehoshua do but try to express it? He get into detail. Now listen, watch this. He say, Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and make our own. So this killed the atheistic philosophy. So in other words, really, all in all, an atheist would say ain't no heaven or no hell. Partially, that's correct. Meaning, it ain't no spooky realm of heaven and hell. We can agree with you on that, atheist. But there is a heaven and hell as it relates to your state of mind. The way you think. And the only way you couldn't believe this is because you don't know yourself. You don't know how you made. You don't know the good and the evil, that one has been talking about, whether they know it or not, has always been within the man. The God and the devil that's being talked about has always been in the man. You see? You just been looking in the wrong places. This is why you can't see the heaven and the hell of the God and the devil that truly exists. It says he never made hell. We are creators and make our own. That's putting us in a state of responsibility. It says, now cease to seek for heaven in the sky. See, we with you. Just open up the windows of your hearts, and like a flood of light, a heaven will come and bring boundless joy. And then the toil will be no cruel task. This is a powerful demonstration. All you got to do is change the way you think. Open the window of your heart, and you know good and well the blood pumping organ ain't got no windows on it, nor window panes. You ain't got no curtains and all that right there, so we know that we're not talking about windows of your heart in that way. We're saying that there are certain openings as it relates to your consciousness. It's speaking of the consciousness of your heart. Open your consciousness. Open up the way. Per M. Heru. It says, and like a flood of light, a heaven will come and bring a boundless joy. Then the toil will be no cruel task. Wait a minute. Now we talking about heaven coming to you, bringing you boundless joy. So you automatically know, again, you ain't talking about a place that you got to go through by, meets and bounds. So the people was amazed by this simple wisdom, and they gathered closer. They drew closer to Yehoshua speaking, and they called him a strange young master speaking. Because you got to remember, during that time, the rabbi didn't really want to hear too much from the young man. So this was strange to see the youth talking like this. Yehoshua was young, speaking this wisdom. It says, imploring him to tell them more about the Father God Allah, about the heaven that men can make on earth, and about the boundless joy, right? It says, and Yehoshua spake a parable. Now we know this parable is not to be took literal in its same state, but it goes a little deeper and takes you into a deeper meaning. It's alluding to something. And Yehoshua spake a parable, and he said, a certain man possessed a field, and the soil was hard and poor. We got to look at this. We definitely got to deal with it. It says, by constant toil, he scarcely could provide food to keep his family from want. Now, come on, brothers. Come on, sisters. I know a lot of us can relate to this. We don't even possess a field because we ain't got a land to plant nothing in, a window to toss, anything of waste out on. Right? We may not have all that there, but our soil is definitely hard and poor in the first place if we had it. If we leave it up to Rome and what they got going on, by constant toil, He scarcely could provide food to keep his family from want. We done all probably been in a state like this right here where we was trying to provide for our family, right? I mean, this is the sole drive of everybody in humanity. And you'll hear people saying, man, I'm trying to provide for my family. So this too has become weaponized against the people, striving for provisions for your family. Let's take a look at those who have compound interest in student loans. You know, before Biden forgave some of them. You know, but this too caused a weaponization, so to speak, of a certain condition. So if someone has, let's just say, $80,000 of debt over their head, and then they're in a work environment, and they got to put up with all types of treatment and abuse and mental abuse and everything else just to keep the job. All in the back of their mind, they know that they toiling, but they 80,000 in the hole. If one is not rooted in divinity and a proper understanding of the Most High, this can actually push one over the edge, you know, to a state of disbelief. You know, they get in a mindset of trying to figure it out on their own, leaning on their own understanding becomes the end result. And they come through many different trials that will either make or break them one way or another. I know it's somebody out there that can relate to this. But it's not just the one that's subject in the realm with student loans. It's one that has known nothing but being in the lowest of the low. That's all they ever know was being, you know, the have-not. So you give them an opportunity. Make them believe that there is some opportunity for progression to be able to move up in the world, to move forward in the world. All they got to do is be a good employee. They can even get a reward of employee of the month. And based on the state that our people come up through, you know, if they haven't had much, that's a high accolade. You know, and it can also make them become ego-driven if they think they have attained something when they really ain't obtained nothing. On the credit side of life. So nevertheless, self-preservation becomes a law of nature. I got to do what I got to do to keep this job, even if it means turn against what I believe in, my own principles, and, you know, so forth and so on, whatever the case may be, right? We just speaking in general, because these type of tests come to even the very elect, you know. But when you love what you do, the enemy can't weaponize that against you. When you love toiling, the enemy can't use that as a harping string, so to speak, to be able to pluck when they get ready to pluck you, you know, into submission. You know, because you know who you are. You know how you made. You know who made you, right? And you wasn't made for somebody to play you like a sad song. No. Bloom, 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 bloom. So, you know better, you do better, family. This is what we're getting at. But you know, you got to laugh and make the people laugh to keep them from crying. So, when you look at this particular measure, this is a hard task for some people, especially when They go into a state of mind of saying, I'm doing this for my kids. We don't even use the term kids, but I'm saying this here. We don't do nothing for young goats. We're going to make that plain. But just say children. I've seen women weaponize, the thought of their children potentially having to go without. So this justifies the means for them to do the unthinkable in order to provide for their family. I couldn't see my baby starve. So I had to get out there and get it how I live. I had to sell myself short so that I can pay these bills. Now, brothers, it ain't easy for you when it comes to trying to get out there like that right there, so to speak. And we don't mean to make light of the situation. We just trying to tell you what it is. Because ain't nobody, let's just say the shop ain't easy to open up for you like that out there. And leave the elders alone, brothers. Leave them alone. What they try to call them, cougars and carrot, no. Leave them alone. But what I'm trying to tell you, is that it's a little harsher, because you really got to come up with a plan. Especially when Rome is able to weaponize your need to provide, weaponize even that against you. Tear your whole household apart. Rome is able to do this now. So yeah, by constant toil, he scarcely could provide food and keep his family warm. And what happened after that? There comes the conflict within the household. You can do better in what you're doing. That's the song that God is going to start singing, right? Now, if she's unconscious of the reality of the fact that Rome, in the way that they have orchestrated, this particular system, that it was made to break our family unit down. If she don't know that, she can be misled. If she don't know that, she can be led in thoughts of hopelessness, and it can make her do things of the unthinkable, like we were speaking earlier. She may love you, but she loves money more. That's if she's not in the proper state of mind. And we ain't beating up on our sister. We talking about a particular type of sister. So if them cosmetics don't fit your sister, don't put them on. You might not look right. So it goes on. It says, one day a miner who could see beneath the soil and passing on his way saw this poor man in his unfruitful field. And he called the weary toiler, and he said, my brother, know you not that just below the surface of your barren field, rich treasures lie concealed? Now you can only imagine what the toiler was saying, because he say, what in the world are you talking about? I've been out here toiling in this field my whole life. I done dug every span of the ground that's surrounding my feet. Time 100 feet from my feet. 1,000 feet from my feet. I done tore this whole ground out here. And though many times I done dug with my hoe, I haven't found anything of treasure. So what are you talking about? You must have planted the treasure somewhere in the soil, and you try to play head game with me. Because you might be trying to give me a blessing on the low. But nevertheless, sir, no, I can't go with that. I've been toiling all my life. I ain't never seen no treasures here. So I have no idea what you referring to. You see? But this is one telling him, your treasure that you pulling my leg, man. This can't be the truth. So he said, you plow and sow and reap in a scanty way. So Yehoshua would tell him, you wasn't digging deep enough. Yeah, you've been digging out here, but you ain't been digging deep enough. And day by day, you tread upon a mine of gold and precious stone. You walking over your treasures, stumbling over them, stepping on them, and don't even know it. That man's thinking now, like, you all these years I've been suffering and struggling. You telling me I've been standing on my treasures? I've been stumbling and tumbling over my treasures. All these gray hairs I got on my head now. I done wasted my youth toiling hard, and the treasure was there all the while. Now that in and of itself can actually make, someone go over the edge too. You got to be careful with that thought too. For one to know that they've been living a lie, and that liberation was there all the while. And then they think about everything they came through, everything they lost along the way as a result of this, and now they see it was there all the while. That right there can be a real paradigm shift. So Yehoshua said this. He said, this wealth lies not upon the surface of the ground, but if you would dig away at the rocky soil and delve down deep into the earth, he said, you need no longer till the soil for naught. So if you dig deep, you ain't got to worry about digging for nothing. Then the man believed. Notice that's the key right there. Because we can even put this in the sense of the three-step ladder, even though the three-step ladder is dealing with climbing out of belief in the faith and into fruition. We can see that one is actually going into depth. Going into the depth of the earth by means of the same degrees to a certain degree. One goes beyond belief. Then one goes beyond that into a degree of faith. And when one digs deep enough, they come to a realm of fruition. So it says the miner surely knows. And I will find the treasures hidden in my field. So the miner had to, at some type of time, have dug in a little deeper than the man that owned the field. He said, and I will find the treasures hidden in my field. And then he dug away at the rocky soil, and deep down in the earth, he found a mine of gold. So just as we are not speaking of, a heaven that's out there in space, we're not talking about a gold that is dealing with the physical, material aspects of gold. The rocky soil happens to be a state of mind where one has to come through the realm of a breakthrough, in order to receive what was already destined to be received, what was coming to him anyway. In the teachings of the esoteric world, there's a measure that refers to what is called the dark night of the soul. And we can liken this to this state of toil if one is thinking from a material realm, so to speak. Meaning before they come into the true consciousness of what toil is. If they're thinking that their toil represent hard work like hell on the plane of things made manifest, and that's all they can see, this dealing with the dark night of the soul refers to the experience that's often cited in devotional literature. When the seeker, so to speak, after a long period of mystical, work, have been striving for their higher, they endure a period of great depression, loneliness, seeming hopelessness in regarding in his or her efforts before finally being rewarded with a breakthrough in self-awareness and higher consciousness. This is what the toiler was going through, that dark night of the soul, but their breakthrough was now being put on display by Yehoshua. After all they had been through, that depression, that loneliness, everything seeming hopeless, where they were a failure regarding their efforts. Now one is to be rewarded with a breakthrough in self-awareness and higher consciousness. So these represent different stages of spiritual ascent. And this ascent comes after descent. You often hear me say spirit man was given a soul to function upon the plane of soul, and given a body of flesh to function upon the plane of things made manifest. We know the angels ascend and descend to the great God Allah. What does it mean to function upon the plane of soul? To ascend and function upon the plane of soul, the sole purpose is to be able to bring the reality back to the manifest, the blessings. This is why Prophet Noble Ali said, that basically he can better aid us from the soul plane, but there the enemy can't hide. In other words, he had to go into the realm of the unseen. So now let's go further into this drawing. It tells us that, and this is the ayat we're dealing with right now after we go a little further into this. It says, and Yehoshua said, the sons of men are toiling hard on desert plains and burning sands and rocky soils, are doing what their fathers did, not dreaming they could do aught else, anything else. Now listen now, it's giving you the terrain and the states and condition what they saying these sons of men were toiling under. Now you know about the desert plains. You can literally die from dehydration, especially if your body ain't used to it. It's a lot of dangers in the desert plains as well. Burning sands, goodness gracious. You imagine burning sands, rocky soils. You can't produce nothing in either one of those particular conditions. The desert plain, burning sands are the rocky soils. But it's saying that they're doing what their fathers did, meaning that this is a hereditary thing. It has become a thought pattern, not dreaming they can do anything else, all else. Isn't this not the state of mind of most of our fathers coming up here in the West, brothers? Being in a state of hopelessness, told that they don't have the potential to do certain things, so they might as well settle for less. They might as well settle for being a slave just to get by. So that brings us to the ayat. Behold, a master comes and tells them of a hidden wealth, that underneath the rocky soil of carnal things are treasures that no man can count. Now, I know we want to believe that this just took place 2,000 years ago. But our holy prophet told us he was Yehoshua will come again. So he was the master that come to the manifest to tell us of a hidden wealth. A hidden wealth as it relates to our nationality. A hidden wealth as it relates to having your own divine creed. A hidden wealth as it relates to what we call generational wealth. But it has to be found underneath that rocky soil. We got to be redeemed from our sin-filled ways and corner thinking. Beneath the rocky soils are treasures that no man can count. Now you think they running around the young generation now blinging. It ain't nothing to see our young brothers now, and all of them ain't doing it illegally. Because some of them can't even toil in that realm no more. Rome done away with that. Because they done legalized some of the stuff they was doing illegal. But nevertheless, you know, you'll see a lot of the young brothers out here. I'm talking 17 up and even younger. They run around now with $2,000 and $3,000 around their neck, on their wrists. And some of them legitimately, you know, have businesses. All of them are not there getting it out of the dirt. Some of them have. You see? And it's hard to talk to a generation that doesn't have anything to lose. You see? But everything to gain in their mindset. So they live, you know, in a state where they flaunt their wealth in a reckless way. Some of them got 7 or 8 high-end vehicles. Now, don't get me wrong, Morris King, because we don't want to say being righteous is being synonymous with being broke. Because if somebody tell you that, they're telling you a lie. The Most High didn't put you here, you know, to make you just basically never have something in your life. He never made it a sin for you to be able to live, you know, in a comfortable state to a certain degree. But the thing is, when you try to put that all the way out front and you forget about it, the thing is, when you don't use the blessings of what he may have been able to give you to aid and assist those who are in need, because that's what they are lacking. That's what they don't know. And if one don't know better, remember, they can't do better. So don't never believe the lie that the Most High put you here to be poor and broke, even though we know that poor doesn't just deal with lacking material things. Poor represents a state of mind. And in this case, Yehoshua was showing them where they were poorest at. To be poor is to be ignorant. To not have a knowledge of the wealth that you already possess. That's what it means to be poor in all actuality. And you can't get that wealth. You can't obtain it. You've been looking over it the whole while. Because you've been looking for the grass to be greener outside of yourself. But yeah. In fact, in the Grand Quran, Allah say, do not neglect your share of the dunya. Meaning all of us have a share in the world to be able to attain something for ourselves, you know, that will make us happy not only on the plane of things made manifest, but most definitely happy within. See, we're going to talk straight to you. We ain't going to make it no impossibility for you to come into the path of the truth, because Allah didn't make it hard like that. Allah never said that you had to be a vagabond in order to be righteous. So step away from that nonsense. But these treasures that Yehoshua was speaking of were treasures that no man can count. Even your money counter couldn't count this. This type of wealth that Allah got, and that wealth has been in us all the while. In Allah's treasure box, it says that in the heart, the richest gems abound. We know it ain't no hearts, no diamonds, no rubies, and none of that in your physical heart. But we already know what happens when the heart get clogged up. It says that in the heart, the richest gems abound, that he who wills may open the door and find them all. You know, this is not a literal door with hinges on it. This is the door of consciousness. These are gems of consciousness in that particular chamber. It says, and then the people said, make known to us the way that we may find the wealth that lies within the heart. And Yehoshua opened up the way, and the toiler saw another side of life. And toil became a joy. That's a powerful demonstration, more. That's true wealth. That's true wealth. And you can't get it nowhere else in the world, you know, until you come into a state of consciousness and know what's in you. We can even deal with the concept of an alchemical process as it relates, you know, to this concept, you know, of finding, you know, the gold that we're talking about. What is alchemy? Listen to it. We're talking about turning base metals into gold in the common context of alchemy, right? But alchemy is a process of transformation. All that toiling in that rocky soil is a process of transformation. You are the one that bring about the transformation through your toiling. Discipline and purification as well. That's the process of alchemy. And it's two types of alchemy, which often overlap, right? You got practical, laboratory, and outer alchemy. You know, like I was speaking of a few minutes ago, it's concerned with transforming a base material into a higher and more purified substance. For example, you deal with turning lead into gold or the extraction of a medicinal substance from a plant in order to create a healing elixir. That's a form of alchemy, to bring about a better degree of health within the self. So your diet can become, you know, an alchemical process, you know, of work, toiling. And you have spiritual, theoretical, or inner alchemy. So you got to go within. You got to dig within. It says concerned with the transformation of the human soul from a state of baseness to one of spiritual enlightenment. That's happiness. So the primary work of alchemy is the purification of the sublimation of the human soul. You know, that's why they come up with various alchemical texts that are often full of allegory and mythological symbolism. You know, and a practitioner of alchemy becomes known as an alchemist. We call them adepts. What is an adept? An initiate who has reached a certain high level of attainment. So when you learn how to properly dig beneath the rocky soil, and the only person can teach you that is somebody that done it themselves. Once you can learn that right there, then you can really get to the goal. There's also another measure in the esoteric world that deal with what we call the assumption of God forms. And this relates to what we're talking about. The assumption of God form, you know, we say spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah. meaning you have to assume the form. It's a technique. In esotericism, they say it's a magical technique, wherein the adept actually works with energies of a particular deity by assuming its form. So the archetype or image of the deity is created on the astral by focused visualization. Your astral plane, your astral thoughts, vibration, of the name of the deity are tracing, its sigil, so to speak, in the ethers. One is able to step into this astral image and wear it like a garment or a mask, and continue to strengthen the image with focus and concentration. See, this is all dealing with mind power. This is performed in order to create a vehicle now for a particular aspect of the divine that one is working with. Now, this is when you dig beneath the rocky soil or the surface level of surface thinking in your mind. Man, yeah, that's a powerful demonstration. So we got to be able to assume the God form. We got to come into a full state of God consciousness. This is an alchemical process. We got to dig and we got to mine for these minerals. And we will find true gold. But even when it comes to dealing with the reality of things, we know that just as toil was seen as hard work here, we find diamonds under the most harsh conditions where they have become pressurized, so to speak, in a certain environment. And even to get to the diamond, you got to crack that coal open. But it's in there. Yeah, that's a carbonated a substance, just as your body is. In fact, the carbon atom is part and parcel of what make you complete within the other elements. But that's a whole nother measure. In other words, what we're getting at is that your happiness is your true goal. And this is the goal that makes you wealthy. But you've had it in you all the while. It was there all the while, Moorish King. But we've been taught to overlook it, and many of us go through our lives overlooking the wealth that we have within ourselves. So praise be to Allah, we can pass these lessons on to our young, so they don't have to go through what we went through, and they don't even have to do as much work as we had to do, because they will already be enlightened as we are now being enlightened. So what I'm gonna do at this particular time, I'm gonna open up the floor so that we can hear from our family, and all is well. So star 6 your phone, more Islam. Islam, brother Miles Bay, you got to go on the conference call in order to be able to speak on here, because they can't hear you. The people on the conference call can't hear you, but the people here. So call in on the conference call, and then they'll be able to hear you, and the people can hear you on here, because I'm gonna share the sound. So give me a second too. Let me do that. Islam, is there any more on the conference call, that would like to come forth and give their measure? Islam, Sister Curtis Bay. Islamism.
Sister Grand Sheik for this powerful, wonderful class tonight. And again, we're in another one of these powerful chapters. I tell you, they just keep opening up. And our chapter of the week, our new chapter 16, Yehoshua teaches the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain eternal happiness. And you was focusing on ayat 21. And Yehoshua said, Yehoshua said, the sons of men are toiling hard on desert plain and burning sand and rocky soil. Muted. But their fathers did, not dreaming that they can do aught else. And this was a powerful, powerful class. And what really stood out to me when you was giving your demonstration, you talked about the thoughts of the people, and you talked about how they was just in a desperate state, in a state of like, there's no hope. And when you in a state like that, that's a sad way to be, as you had pointed out. And even today, when you look around, we got people like that today who just feel like it just ain't, it just ain't no hope. And all they got to look forward to is eating, sleeping, and drinking, and doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting different results. But we call that insanity, doing the same thing over and over. And but what really I loved about it, when you touched on about dealing with your thought pattern, because as we know, everything began with a thought. And we know your heaven and your hell, all of that begins with a thought. And if you living a life that you are not happy with, you're not pleased with what's going on in your life, like you said, all you got to do is change the way you think. But see, our people, and that's why it's so important that we be the message that we bring, and that we get this message out to let our people know who they really are, to let them know that they are gods and goddesses, and that they create their own reality, because their thought pattern, as Yehoshua said, is wrong. And a lot of our people, the way they think today is wrong, because they running after gods that they know not of. But that's where we come in, to bring this good news of what the prophet has brought to our people, and let them know who they are. Let them know that they are a nation. They are a nation of people. They came from royalty. Build them up and let them know where they come from. And then, like you said, teach them how to go within. Because if you want to try to find true happiness, you definitely gonna have to go within and tap into that source, which is our great God Allah. Gratitude, God man, for letting me share a powerful class, Islam. Unmuted.
And Islamism, sister. We give honors to you for that drawing. Praise be to Allah. All right. Who is that with their line on?
Islam.
Islam, Brother Justice.
Islam.
Hold on real quick, Brother Justice. Is
Islam.
Brother Gary Miles Bay on the conference call? I'm trying to see if that brother got back first.
Islam, grand man.
Okay, Islam, more.
Gratitude, God, man. All praises be to the great God Allah. Honor to his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali.
Islam, speak up a little bit, grand man.
Can you hear me now, God, man?
I can hear you loud and clear now.
Gratitude. All praises be to the great God Allah. Honor to his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islam. Once again, I rise and I give praise to the Almighty great God Allah,
Muted.
the highest honor to His holy prophet, our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. His high name, Sheikh El Ha Sharif Abdul Ali. I give high honors to the greatest forerunner ever, Marcus, Jose Garvey L. I give high honors to our theocratic Moorish American government. I give high honors to Act 1, our divine constitution, bylaws, our government officials, staff, and citizens. And I also give high honors to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh today for this grand Moorish Perspective class tonight. We follow our National Assistant Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadu Amenti. I'm a head Shep Sewell, once again for this grand Moorish Perspective. And I also give high honors to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, our Moorish flag, grand emblem, grand seal, everything that is Moorish, all my Moorish kin that spoke before me, and all my Moorish kin that will speak after me. Islam, Islam, Islam. I'm Divine Minister Dr. Gary Myers Bay, Apalachicola, Florida territory. And basically your subject, chapter 16, Yehoshua teaches the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain eternal happiness, ayat 22. And it reads, behold, a master comes and tells them of a hidden wealth, that underneath the rocky soil of carnal things are treasures that no man can count. And gratitude for the class, grand man, and another grand Moorish perspective. And when I was listening to you, as you first started demonstrating, basically, I wanna go to chapter 66 of our Moorish Holy Quran and our holy instructions from the Prophet Misery, and I want to read 3 ayats. Ayat 1, it states, feeble and insignificant as thy art, O man, in good, frail and in constancy as thou art in pleasure. Yet there is a thing in which thou art strong and unshaken. Its name is misery. It is the character of thy being, the prerogative of thy nature. In the heart, subhanAllah, in thy breast alone it resides. Without thee, there is nothing of it. And behold, what is its source but thy own passions? He who gave thee these, gave thee also reason to subdue them, exert it, and thou shalt trample them under thy feet. Praise Allah and honor to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And I read that because, when you first started demonstrating, that's basically what I was thinking about. The people basically was going through misery, because of their lack of knowledge, not knowing, and basically just believing what ones had told them, and then as you went along, you basically was letting us know that basically a mastermind came along, and basically that mastermind was our holy prophet Noble Drew Ali. And we also know that a mastermind is an adapt, and basically our holy prophet let us know the first duty of an adapt is basically to become a master of his own mind. And it's also one who accepts the responsibility, of conquering all the enemies set against perfection of the divine heart and mind. And, as I was listening to, basically, the drawing that I got was basically obey our holy prophet, obey the holy and divine laws. And basically because as you was talking about, the unseen, things that we can't see. And basically my concept of that was, like our Moorish kin always say, do you believe, in your lying eyes, or do you believe in the holy prophet and our great God Allah, because basically, as you stated, as a man think, in his heart, so he be. And we also know, our holy prophet brought us everything it takes to save us as a nation, and he said, take it and save yourself. And, basically, our holy prophet was the one that brought us that truth, just like Yehoshua brought them that truth. And basically, this was one that basically defended that everlasting gospel, stood on the truth, stood on the principles, and stood on what was said. And also one that was helping the people to learn how to think, because once again, thinking with a reason, understanding, remembrance. This is the actions of the soul, and basically that's what one was letting one know. That when you change your thought pattern, basically things will get better, and that wealth. Basically, right now that wealth is wisdom, and it comes through our Moorish American government, and that's our gross national product. So gratitude for letting me speak, God, man, grand class, and peace and love to all my Moorish kin here, there, and everywhere. Islam.
Unmuted.
Islam, brother. Gratitude for that measure. Yes, sir. Don't get no plainer than that. You definitely know the assignment. Well, all right. Is there any other more who would like to come forth? I think our brother Justice was there first, though.
Islam,
Islam.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now, brother.
Islam, praise Allah, honor to our holy prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Muted.
National Assistant Sheikh Sir Dr. Shai for the great class tonight, and honor to all of those who assist you in the class, and honor to the entire Act One. As always, special honor to our National Grand Sheikh and our National Grand Chairman. Moorish America are empowered to make law, enforce law, with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of Moorish America. And honor to our host tonight, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the citizen of Moorish America. Well, so the prophet did say, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Now taking to save thyself. And he said, if I can get you to thinking, you'll save yourself. And looking at chapter 16, and it says Yehoshua will teach the common people at a spring, tells them how to attain eternal happiness. And I'm here to learn like everyone else. I was sitting here thinking he's at the spring teaching them to attain eternal happiness. And I'm sure this had to do with teaching them how to be masterminds. Because, when you buy a spring and, you can kind of look deep into your mess, because the prophet said, if I can just get you to thinking, you'll save yourself. And when you buy a spring and, water, it has life and energy, and it helps balance those chakras, and it got the nerves and all at a balance. And as that water run, it is calming and relaxing the nerve, allowing you to open up, to listen, and to think. It's like the flow of taking a drink, and then the body's being relaxed and calm, and then you have your ears are open, and everything's is still, and you're able to hear what is being said, not just with the ears, but with the spiritual ears, those inner ears, because and as the brother was speaking, he was talking about, there are many things that the carnal eyes and carnal ears can't see or hear, but Yehoshua had taken them, was teaching them at a higher degree than, not the way that not like I would say like they teach Christians. He was teaching them from divine level. He was teaching them how to think. He was teaching them how to listen. He was teaching them, getting them to understand that the thought is the cause of it all. And this is why it's so important, because I was just listening to it, and I know that this is why it's so important that we study. Each and every one of us study, because you like so many other teachers, leaders in this government and teachers, you can teach the class, but just because Dr. Shaheed said it, the Sheikh said it, Chairman said it, Grand Secretary of State said it, it's great to get the lesson, but you got to go study for yourself, so you can have a deeper understanding. And then too, there's a portion that you understand that may be different from others, which would be true, but you have to get the laws of lesson. You You have to study. You have to think. You the one have to put all of these in thoughts and actions. It's your responsibility to get these laws, and it's your responsibility to be thinking. It's your responsibility. You're responsible for all your actions. So if you are sitting there saying, "Yeah, they right," and not going and study to get a better understanding, and not having them ears open to hear, and not and having the chakras out trying to get that balance there, because there was a reason why Yehoshua was by that water, because he wanted to make sure that everyone that was paying attention, because I'm just trying to think of it as you was demonstrating it, because it is so important to be in a quiet place, even when you are giving the laws and lesson, like here now, all the lines are muted. It's for a reason, so that you can have an ear to hear, those spiritual ears can hear. And this is what I was getting out of the class. It's important that you study for self. Like the prophet said, study self. After you did about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years or so, study some more. This is what Sheik, the chairman, yourself, and I are doing. And you've been doing this for some years, but you're still studying some more. And this, to me, is what I see in this journey that Yehoshua was on when he was teaching the common people at the spring, and tells them how to attain eternal happiness. You have to go within yourself, because when you have people around you, and if you listen to them, they'll pull you down, excuse me, to your lower self if you're not careful, if they don't have anything positive and true to speak about. Because there have been, and I'm gonna say this, I'm getting ready to go. So there have been many in the government who have been on the road of happiness, but allowed themselves, their lower self, to listen to others who have actually turned their back on the rock, and we're headed down the road of sadness, disobeying, and not listening to the prophet. So I find this to be a very, very, very powerful class, and there's so many portions in it, especially when you listen at Yehoshua teach the common people at a spring, tells them how to attain eternal happiness. You got to study self, and you got to know who made you, and you got to know that Allah, the great God of the universe, sent the Holy Prophet for your earthly salvation. If you get these laws and lessons, honor to you for the class, sir. Praise Allah. Islam and peace.
Unmuted.
Islam, brother
Islam?
Justice. We give honors to you, brother, for the joy and gratitude. Islamism, is there any other more who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? The floor is still open. Now, I know it's some Moors up in that dug beneath that rocky soil and found some gold somewhere. Islam. Islam, brother Muhammad Bey.
Islam, grand man. Can you hear me? I
You're
guess you
going to have to
can.
go on the conference call. Remember, you can't talk through here because they can't hear you. Both sides can't hear you is what's going on. The people in YouTube hear you, but the people on the conference call can't hear you.
Okay, I'll chime out, and I'll just chime back in a few minutes. Okay, inshallah.
Yeah, you just call in the conference call, and then we'll get you right on there. We
All
just
right,
want to make
gratitude,
sure
grand
both
man.
sides can hear you.
Gratitude.
Because I'm not speaking on my telephone, I'm speaking through the computer, and that's why the audio do like that.
Yeah, all's well. Gratitude.
Islam, but call
Islam.
into the conference call.
All right.
Yes, sir. All right. Is there any other more who would like to hear that message? Give that message. While we wait on our brother Muhammad Bey.
Islam, can you hear me, Godman?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you on the call.
Yeah, I've been on the call all along, but I guess I had to go out and come back on.
Okay, yeah, this is the first time I heard you say you wanted to speak though, but come
Yeah,
on in. You know you can come in
right.
here. I know you
Absolutely.
fired up.
Yeah. Yeah. These phones, man, like they got like a mind of their own, so to speak. But gratitude for calling on me. Yeah, this is Dr. Marvin Evans Bay. Praise and honor have been given, and I'll reiterate. All praises to the great God Allah. Highest honor to his prophet. Our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. High honor to this class, our
Muted.
class. High honor to our Morris American government and all of our officials. And all that gave their message before me and all that will give their message after me. And everything that is Morris. And that's everything that the prophet brought to save us as a nation of people. Our flag, our seal, our emblem, our divine constitution, the Holy Quran, Book of Ali, our 101, 102, the exuberant of a nation, all of our divine revelations, I give honor. Give honor to the forerunner of our prophet, Dr. Marcus Music. Getting back to the class, very powerful class indeed. Just to be on point, let's go to the actual title. Yeah, we're coming from ayat 22 of chapter 16. I know I heard the guy say 21, but I'm pretty sure it's 22. Anyway, behold, a master comes and tells them of a hidden wealth that underneath the rocky soil of carnal things are treasures that no man can count. And as you was giving your measure, very powerful measure, you covered much ground. So I mean that's to say that you elevated to different levels of consciousness, and it was powerful. And you really made me go back in the day when you talk about the brothers, you know what I mean, and sisters, out there trying to make it, you know what I mean, and dealing with life on life terms as we knew it at the time. Because what else do we have to go by? The brothers teach me, mentored me saying that if she did it for this brother, she can do it for you. So, we perpetuate the lie, so to speak. But praise the Lord for sending us a prophet so that we can know the difference, where we can build the sister up instead of continually tearing them down. And by the same token, we are uplifting ourselves because all of that was a lie. You know what I mean? And we talk about the life, being in the life. Is that true life? We know that you can only live in this Morris American government, so everything else is a fantasy. You know what I mean? More than that, it's slavery, mental slavery at that. But praise the Lord for sending us a prophet, for waking us up, to showing us the way, because he went that way. You know what I mean? And to show the Morris American government, to establish this Morris American government so we can have a place to learn. This is where we come to learn how to be ourselves. Any other thing, we just think we know ourselves. You know what I mean? Are we getting it just enough so that we can appear to know, but we still got our, we straddle on the fence. So that's where I look at it. But praise the Lord for sending us a prophet, for showing us the way, learning learning, because as you were speaking, I make notes and I put them in my own way. Learning learning to tune out the noise of the world. And I say that's a task for masterminds. We talk about that diversion, diversion. You know what I mean? So that's what it all is. It's noise, but it's a diversion. Like to say, Yehoshua was speaking to the people, and had to be a bunch of them, and it probably was really noisy. You know what I mean, so to speak. So we, as Moors, we have to be able to hold that thought in the midst of confusion, because we know that Allah is in confusion, but it is not confused. We read that in the Great Quran back in the day. So, yeah. So the point is to, learn how to tune out the noise of the world. You know what I mean? Those carnal thoughts, you know what I mean? And see from a spiritual point of view. I think that more than anything else. So, of course, we have to reach back to our people that still, you know what I mean, in that carnal manifestation, not knowing that we are the lords of that world. You know what I mean? we are commissioned to be so. I mean, we were ordained to be the Lord of the plane of manifest and the plane of soul. You know what I mean? Because we are God. But we have to know that. And not only we have to know that, we have to be that. We are often taught to be the message that you bring. You know what I mean? So that's what timing is. Making these lessons applicable. And, oh yeah, you talk about the people out there want to know how does these lessons apply to that life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but that life is an illusion. But we can, you know, make it where one can see that it's an illusion. I mean, this is what I think, you know, to show them the error of their ways. You know, I mean, talk about material things. You know what I mean? Talk about brothers with 6 and 7 cars. You know, that's fine on that level. You know what I mean? But still, it's on a carnal level. You know what I mean? And they may have millions of dollars, but it's still on the carnal level, the way I see it. Now, if one just step over that fence into this Moorish American government and use those monetary gains that they have gained, you know what I mean, to aid in the uplifting of fallen humanity, yeah, I can get with that. But gratitude, God, man, you know, you gave a very powerful message indeed, a lesson for all. No matter what level one finds himself of, you know what I mean? And before I go, you know, you talked about taking oneself of the manifest is in. Oh yeah, I was saying, you know, taking oneself of the manifest is indicative of, you say, indicative of weakness. You know, and when you say weakness, I said, wait a minute, isn't that a foe? Yeah, that's a fifth foe. You know, weakness. So, you know, I mean, all of these things are part of that fix. You know what I mean? It's part of what we have to overcome. You know what I mean? We shall overcome. Yeah, this is how we overcome, by taking these lessons that the prophet brought, that the North American government continually remind us of every day. You know what I mean? With each class that come on the manifest. Yes, this is where we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Living and learning. You talked about the atheist. You know, and I saw the atheist is just one that don't have the knowledge. You know, they have some knowledge. That's that truth and falsehood, strangely mixed. And so one has to demonstrate for what they are. You know what I mean? And it can be called anything. Atheism, or you just ignorant. You know what I mean? People take that word as being bad, but you ignoring, yeah, it's bad in the essence. But we have to continue. You know, I also looked at that false evidence appearing real, that fear. And I saw how both and fear kind of coexist, you know. But I hope I stayed on the point. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, we do, each and every one of us, those that still don't know that they have a government, yeah, the great God is still in them today. You know what I mean? So all one has to do is conform. This is what it's all about. Conform to these laws and lessons that this Moorish American government is bringing on the manifest, that the prophet brought, having made the trek to Egypt, Kemet, you know what I mean, and made it back with sole purpose of uplifting fallen humanity, beginning with his people that still suffers mental slavery. Gratitude, God, man, for allowing me to speak. Islam and peace.
Unmuted.
Well, Brother Marvin Edwards Bay, gratitude for that drawing. You know, there's a measure that deals with what we call the Four Noble Truths in Buddhism. In the doctrines of Buddhism, one of the doctrines espoused in our Moorish Holy Quran by a degree, you know, if you go into that teaching, it speaks of what we call the Four Truths. You know, and one of them is that all life is suffering, pain, and misery. You know, and it is known as dukkha. You know, and two, the cause of this suffering is selfish craving a personal desire known as tanha, right? And tanha can be overcome. And for the way to overcome this suffering is through the eightfold path: right knowledge, right aspiration, right speech, right behavior, right livelihood. See, these are the treasures right here. Right effort, right mindfulness, see, and right concentration. And that's pretty much covering everything that we mentioned about being able to be in a harsh environment, being able to have the right state of mind, having the right drive, understanding what livelihood is, behavior, speech, aspiration, knowledge. How you gonna go if you don't know? So yeah, that's a grand draw. And we give honors to you, brother. All right, is our brother Muhammad Bey on the conference call line?
Islam, grand man, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Islamism without the schism. The floor is yours.
Gratitude, grand man, won't be too long. Islam and gratitude. Yes, this is Dr. Gerald
Muted.
of the South Carolina Consulate. Want to rise in praise of our Father God Allah, who is the best knowing, the best arranger of all things. Want to give the highest honors to his holy prophet, our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, who was sent especially to his people here in North America, the Moorish American Asiatics of this land. I want to give honors to Act 1 of our divine constitution and bylaws, give honors to all of our government officials of our Moorish American nation, give honors to our Grand National Seal, our Grand National Emblem, and our Grand National Flag, the Moorish flag. I want to give honors to all that spoke before me and all that will speak after me. I want to give honors to absolutely everything Moorish and extend definitely honor, love, and respect to you always, grand man, for being the teacher and the lover of our holy prophet that you definitely demonstrate with strength and consistency. Gratitude for all that you do. This is a grand magnanimous class as always. You cover a lot of ground. And of course, I concur with everything that my Moorish kin have said before me. They create such thought activity in the minds of their Moorish kin when we prepare to come forth to give a measure in obedience to our beloved holy prophet and exercise outside. The attainment of happiness, just to be short and brief, not too long. One of the most powerful statements in your presentation, is happiness is a state of mind. The way that one thinks, or we say thought activity. This is so unique because, see, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, knowing the state of mind that we were in when he found us, he said, I came to save you, to save me from that state of mental slavery that he found me in, that he found us in. That meant that mentally, psychologically, internally, our thinking was out of order. It's so powerful because he started from a very basic level, but that basic level to cure that mental illness is so profoundly significant that it's actually infinite. And what was that? See, the Holy Prophet understood that one of the major things that we suffered from in terms of happiness in our mental state was our identity crisis. We were the only people who suffered from multiple so-called identities, because in reality they were nothing but government-defined labels of the property owners of our former ex-slave masters. So the prophet, what he did, he let it be known first and foremost, as you said in your example, the teacher treads the way. He leads, she leads, they lead by example. So he let everyone know. What was his nationality? Moorish American. Then he went on to let us know, what's your nationality? What's my nationality? What is our nationality? Moorish American. Now, on the surface, this sounds, right, so simple, but there is so much divine content within our nationality, especially when we're talking about happiness. I mean, there are not words to describe the happiness, the joy, the contentment, the balance, and the ability to maintain one's peace when you know who you are. When I learned and found out and really realized that I was a Moorish American, that I belong to my own nation of people, as our Swift Angel number one, Dr. Akhenaten Pertin Haru Tutankhamun Bey, our National Grand Chairman, always says that we have our own government, we have our own flag, seal, emblem, constitution, three-step pyramid. We have everything, along with the divine lessons and guidance to save ourselves, to free ourselves, to liberate ourselves from that state of mental slavery as a nation of people. That in and of itself is such happiness, because see, when you know that you come from an ancient descendant bloodline, because this goes back to the so-called beginnings of time, which is really no beginning, because when you're dealing with us as a people, time never was when we were not. But we can trace, right, ourselves back to certain land masses that are no longer existing, Lemuria, Atlantis, places like this that, you know, that certain people tried to teach us were lands that were occupied by other than us. Well, the truth is out now, because the prophet came and revealed all truth so that we could have internal happiness, like he said in the lesson, you know, beneath the surface. What surface? You know, as I believe it was our brother Marvin Edwards Bass explained. This is dealing with the self. It's not dealing with the outward of things. That's temporary happiness. But when you have right thinking, as you said, that leads us to right speaking and right actions, and then you base that upon those 5 highest principles that the prophet brought us, known to man: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That gives you the balance to be able to go into all righteous walks of life and unrighteous, and be able to maintain oneself. I mean, there's nothing greater than that. So I just want to say, happiness is a state of mind, like heaven and hell. You know, when you don't know who you are in the living state of hell, once we recognize, acknowledge, and accept our true identity as Moorish Americans, that's when that joy comes. And then the journey to unlearn everything that we learned previously and learn how to be a Moorish American by coming on these classes 7 nights a week, sponsored by the Moorish American government. That's when we began to be truly happy, and nothing can shake that happiness, because that happiness is based upon truth, and truth is the only thing that changes now. Islam and gratitude is a grand class, grand man. Thanks for letting me share. Peace and love.
Unmuted.
Gratitude for the measure, Brother Muhammad Bey. Peace and love. Well, all right. We got room for about one more that would like to come forth and exercise their fire before we go to the officials. So come on in, more. Islam. Okay, well, all is well. All right. Well, let us call forth our officials. We're going to start by calling forth our Assistant Grand National Secretary of the State, Sister Alcetta Moon El. Islam, you there, sister? Okay, well, we know our sister must be about our Father's business. But let us call forth our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Khonshu Ma'ak Heru Bey, the Royal Council. You there, Grand Man? Well, praise be to Allah. We know our Grand Mufti is always on the count. So let us call forth then our Grand National Secretary of the State, Sister Shepsu Rakat Ma'at and Putu to come in Bay. Well, she got plenty of room to swing that scimitar. Islam, you there, Grand National Secretary of the State?
Islam, closes a thought. Gratitude.
Gratitude, Islamism. Can you speak up a little bit, Grand Secretary of the State? It's a little low on your end.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, that's a lot better.
Praise Allah. His grand class, Dr. Shaheed. Islam Moorish kin. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to
Muted.
Yehoshua Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, swift angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedo Amenti El Mohamed Shepsuel, for opening our meeting according to law, and also hosting our Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. We want to give a special honor to our Consul General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. Giving honor to Act 1. This has been such a powerful class, and giving honor to all of our Moorish kin online, those that spoke before me and those that will speak after me. Our subject matter, coming from ayat 22, behold, a master comes and tells them of a hidden wealth that underneath the rocky soil of carnal things are treasures that no man can count. And, this is such a powerful demonstration, and I love the way that you broke down this special chapter, Dr. Shaheed, especially getting into that parable. And it always takes me back to when I first came into Moorish science. And, when you first hear the truth of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, I guess kind of like a disbelief comes in. Wait a minute, you mean to tell me that all this stuff was going on and I didn't have a clue? And, then you begin to go back in mind as far as the various periods of time when you were going through hopelessness or despair and things of that nature. And I can recall two distinct instances. One in which, let's say, for instance, there's a layoff on the job, and now the immediate thought is to manifest How am I going to pay these bills? How am I going to feed the children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And your mind goes into a spin, which can easily lead to one of despair and hopelessness and thinking of all kinds of things on a negative or manifest level to try to bring in funds, what one is accustomed to, but it seems as if all the doors are closed. And that is a hellish state of mind, you know. And the other example that came to mind in dealing with the study of the self is, again, experiencing a particular layoff. And the thing about it is, now with the keys and the lessons of the prophet, letting one know that thought is the cause of it all. You know, if you change the thought, you change the condition. And applying those principles to the self, because this is where we build up self-mastery, learning the fact that we are creators and create our own, then there's a peace and a calm. You can replace it with the mantra, you know, the great God has me, you know, or being a God, as you were speaking about, not thinking from a level of lack or what one doesn't have. If you're focusing on the thing that the prophet brought us, everything that it takes, all I have to do is take it and save myself. So now I know the Creator has blessed me with virtues and talents. What can I use to be of a benefit that is going to help sustain me? And when you change that thought, you then see how doors start to open up, because now you're not coming from your passions, your desires, a state of misery and hopelessness. You know, I'm doomed, the world is doomed kind of state of mind, but you're coming from it from a mode of how to counteract, how to deal with reason. Do I have to put forth extra study and hone on these special skills? How do I be of service to humanity? And invariably, that door will open up. But when we go back and reflect on our mind state and reflect the various conditions that we have been through, there's nothing that we cannot conquer. And the Creator will send angels along the way, because I can remember that a period of despair, you know, and my earthly cousin, who was maybe about 20 years my senior, but he spoke to me not aware of exactly where my mindset was, but this particular angel stated, you know, God didn't put you here to suffer. The same lesson that you brought forth this evening, and this is true. So we have got to recognize the fact of how valuable we are as a nation of people, you know, and our unity is our strength, and recognize that there is nothing that we cannot conquer here on this plane. And we've got to stop putting so much credence to Rome's demonstration, you know, and begin to recognize the things that we need as a nation of people and build upon that, recognizing our own God talents, our own strengths, and recognizing those things that will pass away. So this is a powerful measure, and it does bring a paradigm shift when you are dealing with sincerity. Because when you realize that you carrying your universe with you, you cannot run and hide from yourself. You've got to make a stand and conquer these particular foes within your own thought pattern. And this is how you're able to grow, unfold, and develop into the consciousness of who you are as God. So this is a powerful measure, because that in itself brings about a happiness, because it's not dependent upon these things outside of the self. You know, because too often, being indoctrinated in the West, we look for material things to make us happy. And nothing could be further from the truth. When the prophet tells us to be content is to be happy, when you move it from a mode of gratitude and counting your blessings, then this unfolds into more generational wealth within our mindset and being able to pass that down. So gratitude more for calling me forth. You have to look at this as character building when it comes down to the study of the self. And just realizing that our true treasure lies within, as you stated. So more for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin. Islam.
Unmuted.
In Islamism, Grand National Secretary of the State, we give honor to you for that love thought, making it plain. Islamism without the schism. Speaking of making it plain, let us call forth our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Bert M. Heru, to come and invade. Grand National Chairman of Moorish America, Islam, you there, Grand Man?
Close up the talk. Can you hear me?
Islamism, we hear you pulling the scimitar out the oil.
Oh, man. Everybody give praise to Allah and the Prophet of Ali, the last prophet of these days and times.
Muted.
Allah, and brought us his Moorish American answers, everything. I mean, he didn't leave nothing. More, I have been so pumped up since the prophet found me out there here in the West, totally out of it. But the thing about it is that when I looked at the questionnaire and I began to study the divine constitution, and I got into the chapters in the Holy Quran, and oh man, it was I started living for the first time, and it meant so much because it brought out the divinity in me, the divine portion, and that was the portion that what life is truly spent to build. So it meant so much, and I was able to reach back and help my children, help students, and other people. In fact, I was able to reach worldwide because of the blessings that I have received from these teachings from this angel of Allah. So it's an honor and a blessing more. And it was an honor and a blessing just seeing you because you were part of the spirit too, the teachings also. Islamism without a schism. Thank you.
Unmuted.
Grand Droid. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. Well, all right. Speaking of Islamism without the schism, let us call forth our National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael, the Royal Council. Islam, you there, Grand Sheikh?
Islam. Praise Allah. Prophet, honest to everything.
Muted.
Everyone it is. They all start. Yes, this has been a grand speaking question in our struggle to reclaim that which is rightfully ours, our birthright. And the fact that years before the prophet came in our life, he was or we were being programmed by outside force. It taught us to worship their God, and the one in the picture to look just like them, and we actually a lot of instances went to war with other nations, and the nation or the people or the government which held us captive. We rotated and lived our life according to what they set out and how they set it out. And we actually believed the owner of our ancestors that they was telling the truth. That was until Allah, deep in the soul of the earth, brought up that treasure that one was talking about and gave that treasure to us. Treasure of freedom, treasure of being yourself, be your own guide, be the Lord of your own salvation. This one here, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came and gave this to us free of charge. And he let us know he wanted us to be ourselves. We strive on a day-to-day basis to be ourselves. This is why we have these classes, learning, as my assistant grand chief was talking about, ourselves, to be ourselves. And, you know, we don't have to fight our brother man or be in opposition to this one, because he knows that what he says is the gospel, the truth. It's not as like the ones we doing on Sunday of some morning, giving us their version of the truth. When you go down in that well on the ground and dig deep in the soil, you're going to come up with a clean salvation. And this is what the prophet has given us as a people. And I wouldn't give nothing for what it can bring one in this immaculate set time called freedom. And let us hold on to the truth, because the prophet gave us all these things, these diagrams: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is on the course of our salvation now. Thank you, Sheikh. This is a grand demonstration. Praise the Lord. Islam. We can't hear you, Mo.
Unmuted.
Islam,
We can't hear you.
Islam, we on the manifest. Islam, we were waiting on you to read the law. You want me to read it, Sheikh?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir, no problem. Islamism without the schism. Gratitude. Islam, Moorish America. Want to give praises to the great God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for allowing us to come forth and demonstrate with the Moorish kin. You know, and we look forward for you to come forth again, Moors, as well, so that we can get on the manifest. Islam. January 15, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work in their homes on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. When these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive the reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we bring forth this divine decree. Islam, Islam, Islamism without the schism. Chapter 25, a holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Yea, the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breasts of one mother have given you some. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Go in peace, Muslims, Islam without the schism. Praise be to Allah.
Grand class, national sister, grand sheik, grand class. Islam.
Islamism without the schism, Moors. We love you. Yeah, we want to give honors to all of our Moors, that came in as well out there in social media. Gary Miles Bay, Charles Royale, Noble Bryan. Honors to all of you. Adrian Johnson Bay, C. Mac, Mary Bontis, and Marquise. Islamism without the schism. Y'all be sure to get these likes up and subscribe. They done eliminated some websites out there, so you never when they know they're gonna try to do it in every realm. So just be on the manifest. We got the truth here and we got them in our archive. So just stay tuned. The best is yet to come. See y'all in Sunday school. Islam.